Fifty Shades Freed is the kind of movie that I wish the first two 50 Shades movies were. A movie so bad, so incompetent, and so what the actual hell ridiculous that it ends up becoming one of the most entertaining movies I've seen all year. The film's plot, if you can call it that, considering a plot is usually a sequence of events that are assembled in a coherent and sensible way, revolves around Anastasia and Christian getting married, going on a honeymoon, and then becoming stalked and harassed by their old foe, Mr. Hyde. First of all, 50 Shades Freed has a plot that resembles that of Tommy Wiseau's The Room. You know how The Room has a plot that is constantly changing course, introducing new characters, and never makes any sense? Well, this movie is just like that. I'm not kidding. The story is constantly changing course and introducing side characters that appear once, maybe twice in the movie, then they're never seen or heard from again, and the movie is the exact same with or without them. I think my favorite scene in the entire movie has got to be the part where we find out Anna is a professional stunt driver. You see a part of this in the trailer. Christian and Anna are being followed, and the movie suddenly decides it's an action film, and we discover Anna apparently has the motor skills of Ansel Elgort from Baby Driver. This would be like watching Titanic and then halfway through finding out Rose is a black belt in karate. This isn't the only time the movie suffers a genre split personality. Just wait until the completely unconvincing kidnapping subplot kicks in. You know, the one that, much like the helicopter crash at the end of Darker, resolves itself and does nothing for the story. The characters are just as insufferable the third time around. Anna is an absolute bore. Christian is still the emotionless, damaged, and sexually controlling individual he was in the first two films, but because he's hot, the rules of Hollywood say that these traits must be acceptable and desirable. Friends and family members, who I couldn't give any less of a shit about, are here. The house designer lady from the trailer and Tyler Hoechlin show up in the film and, like I said, have nothing to do with anything going on in the movie. These movies are pointless. They don't have anything to say about romance or gender roles or controlling relationships. They're just bad romance movies based on bad romance books. They're movies that are made solely to exploit the public's low standards and bad tastes in art. 50 Shades Freed is idiotic, incompetent, and cynical, and yet it's entertaining, but for an entirely different reason than the people who actually like these movies seem to find them. Now with 50 Shades Freed out of the way, we can move on to a movie that actually does have something to say about violence against women. The movie is called Revenge, and it's a movie that couldn't come out at a better time. Sexual violence against women has been a major topic of discussion as of lately, and Revenge is a rape-revenge thriller that feels uncomfortably relevant. Matilda Lutz plays the young mistress of a wealthy millionaire played by Kevin Janssens, who's taken her to his private upscale retreat in the desert for a hunting trip. After being raped by one of her lover's hunting buddies, then left for dead after threatening to tell his wife and the authorities about the attack and their affair, she takes matters into her own hands by hunting down the three men one by one, not just out of revenge, but just to survive. Revenge is the right kind of movie that comes out at the right time. It's a story of a sexual assault survivor that's likely enhanced by the fact that it's directed by a woman. Coralie Fargeat, I believe I'm saying that right, the movie's director, not only effectively turns female objectification against her main character's male offenders, but she directs with a distinct flair for stylized violence similar to that of celebrated male directors such as Martin Scorsese and especially Quentin Tarantino. Revenge is an intense thrill ride in the same coursing, polluted vein of movies like the cult favorite I Spit on Your Grave that is certain to not leave you underwhelmed, especially when the movie reaches its savage climax that gives an all-too-literal meaning to the phrase bloodbath. And now, the English dub of an anime film called Mary and the Witch's Flower. The movie continues the recent and noticeable trend of only so-so anime films that we've seen as of lately. It follows an ordinary girl named Mary who discovers a mystical plant that's sought after by witches for its magical berries, and she's voiced by Ruby Barnhill, who played the girl at the center of Disney's The BFG from 2016. This leads her to a mysterious school of witchcraft ran by a head witch who's hiding some dark secrets, and she's voiced by Kate Winslet. Alongside other anime films from the last few years, including Your Name, Miss Hokusai, and When Marnie Was There, which comes from the same director as this movie, Mary and the Witch's Flower is another part of a very average anime film parade. Although the animation in Witch's Flower is very lively and the story reminded me a little of the Harry Potter franchise, I was only ever amused by Witch's Flower, not really ever that impressed. It's certainly a charming movie that would be good to show younger kids for its gentle nature, but for those looking for a masterpiece like those associated with Hayao Miyazaki, they won't really find it here. But that's not to say that it's bad. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, I'm Logan D. McCoy, and this is Real McCoy Reviews.